Hey guys, it's Chelsea
and Chris,
and we are LBC Party of 5. We're back with another video. Make sure you are following us on all of our social media pages and hit the subscribe button if you have not already. But we wanted to follow up, first off, Happy Pride Month.
Happy Pride, everyone.
We are so excited to be celebrating, especially this year, because World Pride will be in New York City and so will we. So we are super excited about that. And we wanted to follow up, and it kind of is in relation to it. We wanted to follow up in our last Q&A. I don't remember who, but there was a viewer did impose a question that we weren't able to address in that Q&A because we knew it was going to be too long and it would be a separate video. And the question was how we cut out toxic people
in our lives,
specifically family members. And it is relevant with what we're celebrating now, because this is one of the reasons, just for being who we are, that is a reason that we would be rejected from
absolutely
family, friends, and it can happen. We all know that it can happen. So we did do a video on this previously.
In regards to my
in regards
family,
to your, that's a better word. Yes,
that's better. So at that time, this video was what, 2016?
I don't even know. I'd have to link it.
I don't know. It was very cringeworthy to watch for me.
Because that was pre-transition for anyone that's just coming on the scene for this video.
Carter's like falling asleep with the video. But at that time, I was estranged from my family, and since then things have changed. So now everything's all good.
Maybe it would be beneficial to see what you were going through specifically with that family. So if you haven't seen that video that we're referring to, pause and we will link it, go to that, and then come back, because this is a story of like hope that people can turn around,
right, and things can evolve, and usually for the most part they do. Once people put down, communicate, and then remember that your family, you love each other. That's for most cases. Some family members are just lost. They never come around. But long story short, my family came back into our lives after my top surgery. For those of you who don't know, I had some complications after my top surgery. So I went from one hospital directly into another, and then my family got wind of it. And immediately they were there, supportive. They didn't know why I had surgery, but once they did, they're like, we support everything that you're doing. That's the first thing that came out of my mom's mouth. First of all, I just want to say I'm so happy that you're okay, and we support everything that you're doing. So, in regards,
now that I'm thinking, I didn't even realize that was the because you were talking to your sister was here for that time, so you were back talking.
It was Carter's birthday. That's when my sister came back.
No, your sister was here to help me.
No, I know, but she came.
But I'm just saying she was back in your life. She was
prior.
She was the first one to come back into your life.
Prior.
I didn't realize that it took. So basically, it almost took losing you, like thinking that you were lost, that you were gone.
Right.
For them to be like, this is stupid.
Right.
To be,
Right. And then we communicated, we talked, and everything like that. Now everything is great. Especially when it came to my transition, I was concerned about, certain family members, what they were going to feel about it. But, as soon as I came out to them, I told them what was going on. Pronouns changed instantly. What do I call you now? Chris, instant. Like, there was no qualms, no questions about it.
Yeah, you were now their son, and that was it.
And that was it. And I'm sure my parents had their own personal feelings to it, but I think my mom watched a documentary or something like that, and she came to the realization like, oh, okay, like this is what he's feeling, and then she was able to parent me that way. So that's that. Oh, speaking of, there's my mom right now. But yeah, so it was pretty cool, and unfortunately for me, I feel like I don't tell my story enough. And a lot, I kind of feel a little bit of shame with my story, because there was no like traumatic experience. Like, you couldn't make a CW TV show for my transition, because it wasn't tumultuous most cases. But like Chelsea said in the beginning of the video, my story is more of a story of best case scenario.
But even that, like, they didn't know that about the transitioning because at that period of time you weren't even speaking.
Right.
So we don't know what, like, you were already exiled by that time.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right,
so
right.
even though it wasn't because you were trans as to why you were rejected regardless.
Right.
And then it came full circle.
Right. But I don't even think.
But you're saying like you feel like kind of like a little bit of.
No, I feel like
telling
telling the community that.
And what I'm saying is you did already have that. It just wasn't for the same reason.
Right. Oh, okay.
Is what I'm saying.
Okay.
So it had already happened.
Yeah.
It had already taken place.
I got cut off, but just not because of that.
Right.
Oh, okay. All right. But it's the
feeling.
The feeling still remains. That's why I don't really share my story. They're like, oh, well, everybody should hear your story. And I'm like, they're like, I came out. It was great. And then I came out again, and it was great. You can't. Like, how do you jazz that up?
But you don't need. I feel like there's so much out there where it's a negative. It causes a negative impact on the person's life. It's good to hear stories where it's just, smooth.
Right.
It's not.
Smooth. Yeah.
Because it can go, you got a 50-50 chance. You can go either way.
True.
But regardless, you always have a family. That's what I love about the LGBT community, though, because we can just create our own families.
Right.
And I feel like in some ways those
chosen
people, the chosen family that you have in your lives end up being more impactful in your life. Mm-hmm. And they, fulfill more meaning to me. Because we didn't even answer the question though. So that's the back.
That's the backstory.
That's the backstory.
And that's the update.
But there was a way that we did have to at one point on both of our ends cut certain people off. Mm-hmm. How did we do that? That was the initial question.
How did I do that? Well, my issue, and this has happened several times to me, is that a family member or a friend or whomever, I'm just gonna throw situations out there, they just want me. So it's like, oh, are you coming to the wedding? But not Chelsea, not the kids. Or are you coming to this birthday party? Not Chelsea. Or, vice versa.
Right.
Because there's been several times where, I come along to certain events and I'm like, I shouldn't have came to this event. Because you could feel the vibe. Like, I don't want to be here.
But bottom line, at least I'm going to speak for myself then. Bottom line for me, and in terms of giving advice to someone else to not know how to cut people off,
right.
But just to know when you're being constantly disrespected or you're not being listened to, you're trying to communicate so then you can maintain a cordial relationship with the person, and they're just dead set on not having that happen. You have to draw the line somewhere. At some point, your happiness needs to come first.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So in our situation, it was on both sides, kind of actually, not just because it was you. Me with any female wasn't going to be okay when it came to, my mom is I wouldn't say hyper religious, but she is a Bible thumper. I wouldn't say hyper religious because she's not like cultish, but
I would say rigid and certain views.
Okay, right. So with her, she would be accepting. They had a really good relationship in the beginning up until.
Point, yeah. Well, not the beginning.
But I mean, like, y'all were talking more than I was talking to her. Y'all were talking about books and stuff.
Yeah, in the middle. But then I transitioned.
But I don't think that was because she didn't come. She's the only one on my side that did not come to my wedding. Mm-hmm. But that would have happened whether it didn't matter which female I was with. She was never going to come to my wedding. She can be part of the family. She can come to other, family events and stuff. But she felt like that's the one thing that you're celebrating this lifestyle. I hate that.
Yeah.
And she could not have a part in that.
Now, what about the renewal?
If we were to do a renewal and that was the sole purpose of the event, I don't think she would come even now.
No, I don't believe so either.
But she's begging to come back into our house, like she's begging to be a part of.
But I don't.
But she just won't. She won't do that.
I don't think that you would acknowledge me as like. I don't think pronouns would be used correctly. I don't think. I think
not
that
in the disrespectful
right.
manner.
I think
but
we would pretend that.
I would have to keep correcting.
Yeah,
and it would be
it would be a problem. then
Yeah, so
it would be a problem. So
so for me, I have had to do that. I've had to cut her off on more than one occasion. I'm only bringing her up because she's literally the only person in my family that I've ever had this kind of struggle with.
Right.
So not to shit on my mom or whatever, but it is what it is. With her, I had to make and communicate what my hard passes were. I actually have to, this conversation has to come up again for another situation. But I have to define what is okay for me and for my husband, for my family.
Boundaries.
If you can't respect, right, I have to set those boundaries. If you can't respect what I'm laying out and I'm coming to you, like, cordial, this is what I need. If you don't think that you can live up to this, then we're gonna have to part ways right now until you're able to. So for me, it's not like, I don't deem it being cut off, because my door is always open, because people can change, people can evolve, they can change. So you don't know whether or not they're gonna walk back into, or try to walk back into your lives. I always leave that door open. But again, it's very clear that in order for me to welcome you with open arms through that door, you need to prove to me that you are willing to meet my requirements as to continuing the relationship.
Right.
Because if it's toxic, it doesn't need to be around me or my family. I ain't got no time for that.
Right.
I don't have time.
You're not gonna come into my house and play me in front of my kid. No.
I don't got time for that.
No.
So basically, you have to decide for yourself first what know your own worth, and decide for yourself what you deserve. And people they need to act accordingly.
Right.
If they can't, it doesn't necessarily mean that it has to be bad blood. It doesn't necessarily mean that you have to be fighting all the time or you hate each other. It's just, we can't agree on this, so we just gonna have to love each other from a distance.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. See you on FaceTime.
See you on FaceTime.
Yeah.
For Merry Christmas, or you'll get a card or something like that. Like, I don't ever shut the door. Yeah, I don't think I've ever had to do that. I might have to this last time, but that's a different situation.
No. That should
But
be
you have to set those
interesting.
boundaries. Yeah.
I'll let you handle that.
That's a separate.
You can handle that.
But yes, people can always come around. And she
Right.
did, I have to give her that. My mom specifically has come a long way. It's just with certain situations, I feel like it's 10 steps back.
Yeah.
And it has nothing to do with my lifestyle at this point. It's
Right.
just,
I mean, that's part of it. Let's not
no.
Let's not kid ourselves.
what I'm talking about right now.
No, what you're talking about specifically, but I'm talking about, I am also a part of that too.
Right, yeah, and I would never, but whether you were okay with it or not, I would never open myself or my kids up to that type of negativity. I would not do that. But that's my hard path. That's my hard line. That's my boundary. Don't F with my family.
Yeah, I agree with that statement. All right, so that's how you deal with toxic people. Set boundaries, communicate your needs, and then either they with it or they not with it, and then you gotta let them go.
It's for the best. We hope you enjoyed that video. We hope for that one specific viewer especially that answered your question.
Sorry
and
it took
that is
so
helpful
long.
to you. Yeah, sorry it took so long. But we will be back. Check out for us, because we will be doing a lot more vlogs. We have a lot of footage that's in the bank, and I just have to get to editing it, and especially with Pride and all the things that we have in store. We cannot wait. No, vlogging is easy for me. It's getting you to sit down.
No,
that's the delay, guys. I'm gonna be real. He the delay. Anyways, he has a busy work schedule, so I give you that. And he's tired. So. Anyways,
be
we
sure
hope
to
you
like,
enjoyed.
comment,
Yes, be sure to
subscribe,
like, comment, and subscribe.
follow us on Instagram, all the things.
And we'll see you next time. Happy Pride, guys. Bye.